Oh, Joey Burrow. That guy is ice cold. Welcome to the Breakaway podcast. I'm Jon Root Bryan Farnsworth, rocking the Joey Burt
jersey.
Man, what a weekend of games. We've had 2 weeks in a row that were absolutely fantastic. Great football. We're going to break that down. The conference championships. We're going to give you a little Super Bowl preview. And before we get into a little bit of that and some GOAT talk, because what's happening with Tom Brady?
It's a big question on everybody's mind.
Is that just fake news media, as maybe our parents would say? Oh, they're back at it again. That was absolutely insane. But we got to give our Mount Rushmore because it made us think about, like, who are some of the greatest athletes of all time. Also, we got a little Olympics talk. But before we dive in to the NFL, tell you what the heck happened yesterday. Sunday conversation. Little Sunday sit down with a couple great pro swimmers. Erica Brown and Gabby Duluth, they call out Leah Thomas, the NCAA, and basically just this woke culture and woke media that is in sports. We talk about how the transgender movement is ruining women's sports. People like Leah Thomas should not be competing in women's sports at all. It's simple as that. And I think the fact that this is a controversy just goes to show that Jesus probably should be coming back soon. I think it's time. I think we've gone through enough, big man, upstairs. I know we're always on your timing, but I wouldn't mind if you just made that call.
Yeah. Well, and like I know a lot of times, you'll be sitting there and you'll be thinking about situations like Leah Thomas or like non-binary people in the Olympics and whatnot, and you'll be like, you know what? This is how I think about it, but what do their teammates and those type of people think? That's why this conversation with Erica Brown and Gabby Duluth is so great, because it's like these are female swimmers, female Olympian. Well, one is a female Olympian.
Yeah, Erica Brown is.
And it's like this is their thoughts on the conversation. And so let's get it straight from the horse's mouth. Like what should I be thinking about this type?
Do that podcast, review that really helps us in the charts. We're also on Spotify and YouTube. You can subscribe there and let us know what you think. Also, if you're not following us on Breakaway, the Instagram at TPUSA Breakaway, be one of the thousands. We're kind of taking off a little bit.
Straight to the moon.
To the moon. I actually wouldn't mind if Doge went to the moon too. That would be great. I'm making a lot of requests this morning.
It's dead, John.
No way.
Doge is dead.
No. Elon's got my back, and he's going to make sure that they're accepting Dogecoin. Mark Cuban, even though he gives out really weird trophies to Dirk Nowitzki, I think he is going to make sure Doge goes to the moon too. Let's talk about the AFC Championship first, though. Oh, baby.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know if we got I know we can ask the production team back there if they can pull up a photo of Joey how he showed up to the game yesterday. That boy was swagging out. That was unbelievable. Look at
those dogs.
There's
dude.
him and Jamar. I know we were just showing that up there for everybody that's watching, but man,
that's how you turn
a
franchise around. You have to draft people like that. That's how you do it. You draft winners. You draft absolute what? Dogs.
Ooh, dude. So it looked like the Bengals were down and out, though. They did not
just doing
look
the Bengals thing.
Good. That first half was all Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those where I know I put a little moolah down before the game. I put Bengals money line, and I did Bengals money line in the Super Bowl because I know this guy had a pretty good bracket. This guy had the Bengals going all the way to the Super Bowl. He's got them winning.
Taking the ship.
Unbelievable. But I mean, it was all Chiefs first half.
Yeah, no, it was interesting because they got out there.
There's your bracket, by the way, too. Everybody watching.
Now, okay, let's be honest, my bracket has not been perfect. I mean, the Buccaneers, I had Rams losing round one. So, okay, so half my bracket was pretty solid. The other half, hot garbage. But I mean, other than the Bills and Chiefs, I had that bracket that side of it almost perfect. And here's the thing, because I believed in a little man named Joey Burrow. you got to invest in players. You got to invest in guys who have it. And that's why at the beginning of the first half, like you're saying, the Bengals just, like, they weren't clicking. They weren't making mistakes. They just, like, weren't getting it done. And the Chiefs were hot. Like, Patrick Mahomes was perfect in the first half. I mean, flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had something in there about his QBR, right?
His QBR was 98 in the first half. It looked as good as Joey Burrow as he showed up to the stadium there.
I need to make this my new screensaver.
Man, that's what I know we put that on our Instagram. We're like, Bengals by 1 billion.
Yeah.
How
do you bet against that? I don't know. You have to like hate yourself to bet against that.
If you were watching the first half, it would be easy to bet against that because, like I was saying, Mahomes 98 QBR in the first half. He had one point where I think he was like 14 of 15 passing.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill couldn't be stopped. Travis Kelce was doing his thing. Just basically, I love that Travis Kelce, that he always finds the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he is so good, because you look at some other tight ends and they're just running the route.
Yeah.
But he figures out a way to find a hole in that defense, and he is one of the best route runners we have ever seen from a tight end. It kind of just reminds you of like a Tony Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
And then another great Chief himself. But in the second half, Patrick Mahomes, QBR, 1.4.
Like, that's comically bad.
Largest drop-off in QBR since it was recorded. 98, 1.4.
Well, and so...
It's kind of like President Biden's approval rating.
I don't know if you saw... Straight to the floor.
But also another crazy stat was Patrick Mahomes was 37-0 when leading by 15 plus points.
That's why. Did you see the bettor who did you see the bettor who at halftime, I saw this on Twitter, they went and put $200,000 on the Chiefs to win it. Okay, they risked $200,000 at halftime. That was only going to net them $10K, but exactly. Patrick Mahomes is 37-0. The Vegas odds were giving the Bengals a 2% chance at half to come back.
Yeah.
This dude lost 200 large for no reason. He was only going to win $10K.
Yeah. That's what I don't understand I know we've had Joe Fan on the show from WinBet, and he was talking about take the dogs in the divisional round. This guy knows how to spend his own money.
He was right too.
And he knows how to spend it well. But when you're betting on these games, like for me, I put money on more money on Bengals at half. You just throw like a quick 20 down.
Man, I didn't even check. What were those odds at half?
The odds were I can't remember, but they were
had to been like plus 500 at least.
Yeah, I think it was almost like plus 650.
Jeez,
like it was almost just like, okay.
I wish I would have
easily
down.
That's what I'll do. And then for the Rams game that I know we're going to get into, I put money on Rams at half. I didn't feel good about the Niners keeping it up.
You didn't feel good about Kyle Shanahan?
No, I don't feel good about Kyle Shanahan.
But we'll get there.
Yes, okay. we will get there. I will go off on that situation. I don't feel like enough people have talked about Kyle Shanahan, but
let's talk about the end of the first half though, because that was a really interesting moment.
I kept on telling everybody I was watching the game with. It was an impressive showing in the first half. Like we said, Patrick Mahomes was making the right decision after right decision after right decision. So remember, they had a 1st and goal, and there was, I don't know, maybe around like 12 seconds left. I know I don't remember exactly how much time was left, but you got a couple shots at the end zone.
Yeah,
they're not going to run the ball or anything, and they take an initial shot. Basically, Patrick Mahomes just throws it away.
Yeah.
And then you got 5 seconds left. 5 seconds left, and you're up 21-10. Or
21-10.
21 it was 21-10 at half. And then they motioned Tyreek Hill across the field, and it's like a slow developing play, and then Patrick Mahomes ends up tossing it off to him to the left, where Tyreek Hill has to try to make a move and beat a defender.
Yeah.
That is not the play with 5 seconds left. And Patrick Mahomes, who had been making the right decision almost every single play in the first half, throws it at the Tyreek Hill, and then he gets tackled at like the 2-yard line, and you don't get any points at all.
By Eli Apple, of all people, who like has a mixtape of bad decision making as a defender.
You have Harrison Butker. He's one of the best kickers in the game, and this is just a chip shot. Also, Harrison Butker, friend of the program.
Big friend of
We're really.
I can't wait to get him on.
Yeah, we are definitely. I know that's a little bit of breaking news, but I think at some point we're going to be able to get Harrison Butker on the show. And I know I felt pretty good. He gave me the follow about a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
I think he liked my gear that I'd been rocking on the show. But it was such an acidine decision that it went downhill from there.
Yeah.
It really did. Ever since I passed.
I wonder if that rattled Pat Mahomes.
You'd have to imagine it did.
Yeah.
Because for someone that makes the right decision and someone that's had so much confidence for probably 6 or 7 weeks now, he's like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Because that's not a coach's decision. That is a player needs to throw the ball away.
Yeah. Well, so this kind of went like, not a lot of people have been talking about this. It kind of looked like he tried to signal for a timeout at the end of that play, but they didn't have any so they had used their last 2 remaining timeouts on that drive coming up. Well, remember, the very first drive of the game, well, not the very first drive of the game, Bengals had the ball first, but the Chiefs' very first drive of the game, they had a 4th and 1 that they went for it. They gave it to the fullback. He tried running it, and the refs initially said he didn't get it. So instead of simply challenging it, Andy Reid called a timeout so he had time for his boys up in the booth to look at it and say, yes, throw the challenge flag. That's actually pretty common for coaches to do. But what it hurts you on doing is that timeout was taken. Whereas if you would have just thrown the challenge flag, it wouldn't have cost him a timeout. I think it's really possible Pat Mahomes would have been like, yeah, we only used 2 timeouts on this drive, and he forgot that they had used one all the way at the beginning of the game. Because Patrick Mahomes like is the type of guy that makes the right decision. That's why I can't believe he made that throw knowing I don't have any timeouts left.
But still, that wouldn't make sense for the play before he basically just threw it away.
That's true.
That's
why wouldn't they have run the ball if they had one timeout? Sad Andy Reid.
And then, that's where they could have had this game won. That's where it's like championship teams are made. Situations like this, time management.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes just folded, which was so strange to me. It was so odd because you literally could have continued to bury the Bengals. At that point, you would have been up 24-10. Bengals really didn't get anything going until that last drive, their last drive before half.
Yep.
They're able to get that touchdown. Another thing too is, man, the Chiefs could not pressure Joey B. At all. It's the Titans. You got to remember too. The Titans sacked Joe Burrow 9 times.
That's an absurd amount of times.
9 times. That was the first time, once again, that a team had won a playoff game, getting sacked 8+ times since the 2003 Philadelphia Eagles with Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid.
Yep.
It's fascinating to me that they couldn't get it done, but also shout out to the Bengals O-line. I think they stepped it up a little bit.
No, they absolutely did. So, we're talking about that QBR rating drop from Mahomes first half to second half. What was really cool is there's also not just it's not just on Mahomes starting to make bad decisions. It's what I love about football, and football. As I can't remember who said it, but somebody basically said one time that the entire world is chess, and it is. And I love football because football is chess. And so who gets really underreported, Lou Aramonda, or I can't remember his name, but the defensive coordinator for the Bengals. He
don't mind me getting a little Celsius too.
Oh yeah,
it was a long weekend.
Oh, John goes hard. So the Bengals
now rumors are spreading.
The Bengals almost doubled their usage of dropping 8+ defenders into coverage in the second half and overtime. So in the first half, they only dropped 8+ defenders into coverage 24% of the pass plays. In the second half, they did it 45% of the pass plays. So essentially they said, you know what? We don't think that Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even though they had an 11-point lead, they're saying instead of going hey, they're going to run the ball down our throats. No, we trust our guys are going to stop the run. They dropped 8+ dudes into almost half of every single pass play, and it rattled Mahomes. There was a lot of dudes back there. He didn't know who to throw the ball to.
And you know what? It worked because I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill had a goose egg in the second half. I don't think Tyreek Hill got it. You'd have to check that right now. I'm pretty sure. Stat that. I hate that commercial. The best commercial out there is USAA.
No, do you know what I think my favorite commercial is right now on TV is the Apple TV. You know, Apple's not great, but the Apple TV one where it's Jon Hamm reviewing like all the different, like every actor that's on Apple TV, and it's like everyone but Jon Hamm. I think I die every time, but I love Jon Hamm.
No, but I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill, if he didn't get a goose egg, he probably only just got like a pass or two. But I'm pretty sure he was a goose egg, and that's why it worked. And that's why I think we're going to do a little Super Bowl preview in just a little bit as well. I think that is one of the X factors for the Bengals is the defensive coordinator there, is making sure the defense slows down that Rams offense because those wide receivers look good. And then there's the defensive coordinator for the Bengals right behind us.
Lou Anarumo, that's what it was.
Doesn't that guy look like he'd sell you a used car?
He does.
Look at that guy. It's just,
yeah, he looks like he should work in the front office, not in the not on the staff.
Definitely, I can get you this used car. Definitely no money up, no money down, no money to the right or the left. Just take it off the lot.
Well, not even a cool car like a Dodge Geo or something like that.
But that's why he should not sell cars. Just continue to be a defensive coordinator. You've done a great job.
He did, though. He did interview for the Giants head coaching job. Of course, they gave it to Brian Daboll. I know we're planning on getting into that a little bit later. But so, like, you know, other teams are respecting what he's clearly been able to do this year. But, yeah, I feel like media never, on the game yesterday, commentators, I don't think I ever heard them mention his name once. No respect for Lou. No respect.
Oh, he'll get some respect now.
Oh, yeah.
He will definitely. Well, and then it's tough, too, when you have so many different storylines where it's like this is the biggest comeback in a conference title game since 2006. So Colts-Patriots. So they came back from 18 down. And one of the biggest things, too, is maybe everyone is trying to figure out, like, what happened to Patrick Mahomes. I have a theory.
Lay it on me.
Maybe Jackson Mahomes got to him. Because speaking of bad decisions, that kid makes a lot of bad decisions. And maybe he just rubbed off on the older brother. Maybe he just caught a TikTok at halftime. He's like, oh, no, that's...
Shouldn't have checked the phone.
Oh, boy, Jackson Mahomes. Yeah, doing a little dance while they're doing a retirement ceremony for some guy. It is so funny to watch NFL Twitter just go off on Jackson Mahomes and his wife. And then if you're watching the show right now, I know this is a meme that was posted. I'm fully convinced Patrick Mahomes' family at home is the sole reason he keeps somehow finding ways to stay in the playoffs for as long as possible. I think his wife gets too much flack. I hate the way people talk about his wife. I know there is aspects of
champagne thing was I would be so pissed if it's freezing cold in Kansas City, Missouri, and at the end of the game you get sprayed by somebody else's champagne. Like, WTF?
Yeah, and I feel like give all the crap to Jackson Mahomes.
He deserves a lot more.
That kid is just. If we want to know why society's going downhill, it's because of TikTokers like this. This was ridiculous. I can't remember bring it up earlier. He was doing a TikTok dance while they're doing a jersey retirement for a player that I think just recently died or something.
Yeah, that is poor taste.
Yeah.
It's like the TikTokers who do it in the hospital with their dying grandma, and it's like, oh, so sad.
Oh, I saw that video.
And it's like, oh my gosh, dude, you gotta learn a couple of things.
Oh man, and I know
Sean Taylor's.
Yeah, that was Sean Taylor's memorial. I know they're telling us back there. Also, shout out to the production team back there. They're great guys. Great guys back there. Love those guys very much. If you're in the comments right now, tell us how much you love the production team. I guarantee it's not as much as us, but they do a great job. One thing I do want to mention before we get to the NFC Championship game, and actually I think we might be able to get that TikTok if I think they might be throwing that up in just a second. I might get cut off by this, but here we go. Look at this freaking kid. Like,
oh, so he did it on the 21 logo.
Yes.
Which was chained off to begin the game. Yeah, wow, that is woof.
Also, I do have I have some sources that are familiar with the Kansas City Chiefs and around the stadium and everything, and this kid normally gets his own section on the sideline. Because normally when you're watching a game, the beginning is when they're warming up, a lot of the friends and family are on the field. This kid usually gets his specific section, or at least he has multiple times during the season
to do TikToks.
TikToks.
I guess any publicity is good publicity.
Kid's brain dead though. Like someone needs to tell that kid, grow up.
Well,
please.
And it's not someone. It's Pat. Pat needs to dude, yo, if that was my brother, it's on me. Or on it. Maybe it's on the parents. Like, I don't know. Like, his dad used to play baseball.
Yep.
His dad should sit him down and be like, yo, dude, this is not how you handle yourselves around a sports organization. Pat clearly gets it. Why can't you?
We need Jackson Mahomes to change, and we need overtime rules to change. But luckily, the football gods were good to us yesterday. Because oh boy, even Josh Allen, he tweeted out pain when it went into overtime. Another really exciting game. We can't emphasize that enough, that the past 2 weeks of NFL football are probably the best 2 weeks of NFL football we might ever see.
This has probably been the best year of NFL football of my life.
It's been like a lot of really exciting games. I know if you've been keeping up with Breakaway the entire football season, it felt like almost every single major broadcast, some of those primetime games were some of the best games we've seen.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, real shout out to the, NFL script writers. They've done a great job this year, really keeping me entertained.
But with the overtime here, the Chiefs won it again. They won it again.
MVP for the Chiefs is the coin for sure.
Oh, seriously. And then this is a great tweet we saw here. Chiefs fans when they don't get a free win from a coin flip. Because honestly, I would have been so unbelievably upset if the Bengals mount such an unbelievable comeback to force overtime. And you got to remember, too, Harrison Butker, the man, tied it up in order to go into overtime. And then you lose a coin flip. And you're thinking, here we go again. Oh, man, here we go again. Like that. But Patrick Mahomes still looked horrible.
Yeah.
He looked like Blake Bortles out there in the second half. And overtime, he almost threw a pick six.
Oh, yeah.
Right off the bat. He did not look like himself.
No, they were in there for 3 plays. And on the second toss, exactly like you said, that should have been, the defender should have had that, on the 25-yard line. It was a bad throw. And then on the very next play was that bomb tip drill off of Tyreek's hands, get snagged by Jesse Bates, was it? No, it was 24. Can't remember who 24 is. But, so on back-to-back plays, it should have been an interception and then was an interception. That's why, credit to El Presidente, Dave Portnoy. He tweeted out when overtime started, he was like, nah, Chiefs have scored 3 points in the second half. He
counted them out. He said they are done.
They're done. Bengals to the Super Bowl, book it. And credit where credit's due. I was way too nervous to, agree with that at the time. I was like, God.
Also, if you guys aren't following Brian on Twitter, he needs to get that following up because you post some hilarious stuff.
I
said something about
Twitter being low key.
No, your Twitter needs to go off. When you tweeted out about Aiden Hutchinson's mom, I about pissed my pants laughing.
Beautiful woman.
Heisman ceremony. That's the kind of content you can get from Bryan Farnsworth. But how in the world did they not have some sort of mic'd up situation with Evan McPherson? The dude in the divisional round said, "Man, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship game," right before he nailed that field goal. And then now it's like, I would love to hear him say that again. Be like, well, looks like we're going to the Super Bowl.
I just imagine the like swag and confidence that comes off of Joe Burrow must be infectious, because the Bengals 2 years ago everyone thought like Bengals and Browns were synonymous. Like we talked about them like they were, Bengals, Browns, Detroit Lions. Like it's all a joke. Oh, see, it just goes hard. And once again, that's why you draft a kicker. But yeah, like now all of these guys, they're all, I saw a tweet from a Fox News reporter who she tweeted out that there was cigar smoke pouring out of the locker room afterwards. And I'm just like dying.
Casey did not want that smoke. They didn't want that smoke.
Like these guys are the most confident group I have ever seen in my life. And it all starts with Joey B.
Yep. And then I know too, I'm going to throw this in the chat for the production squad. Speaking of kickers, I think it's been the playoffs for the kickers. We've seen some incredible performances, and a lot of these games have come down to kicking. And look at this guy right here, Robbie Gould. He's got to be the most savage guy in this year's playoffs. He kicked right by the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. He's kicking during the intros of the divisional round at Lambeau. And then the Rams are getting introduced, and he's just hitting bombs right in the Rams' grill.
Dude, that almost hit that dude's head.
Yeah, that was right before the second half. And so the beginning of this video, that's Jalen Ramsey getting in his grill. Robbie Gould, easily. If we were going to give out some sort of award for most savage player in this year's NFL playoffs, congratulations, Robbie Gould. You've won it.
Yeah. No, that's why I remember I was texting my buddies, like, when I saw Jalen Ramsey, I was like, dude, Jalen Ramsey is so annoying. Who gets in the face of a kicker? And that's why, like, I mean, people only get in the face of a kicker if a kicker is that, like, savage, because he's clearly, pushing their buttons in all the right ways.
And that's why I love I know we had that special for the MLB Hall of Fame. We talked about, like, what does Major League Baseball need to do to market themselves better? Mm-hmm. You don't have situations like that in baseball much, where you have these like big personalities. You got like one of the best secondary players against a kicker that's never missed a field goal in the playoffs, and he's just bombing just 50-yard field goals in the Rams' face before the second half. Obviously, you had the
Joey Bautista,
that backflip, and then also you
Bryce
had that
Harper.
fight.
That's what what's iconic to me in the last decade was when Bryce Harper charged Hunter Strickland.
Oh yeah,
that was a lot of fun. Because I think it takes people like that. You got to have the Bryce Harpers of the world who just have like that chip on their shoulder.
That's a clown question, bro.
Yeah.
So Niners Rams. So you got to remember that the Niners had the Rams number. Mm-hmm. So the Niners beat the Rams week 18. Got to remember that. And this was a heck of a matchup.
It really was.
And I think even before we got to that matchup, let me get a little bit more Celsius. Ooh. Minikimes versus Jeff Garcia. Honestly, Minikimes, I think she does a great job. Yeah. She really does. I think she is really witty. She is definitely funny. Works for, I think that's NFL, just NFL on ESPN. I can't remember what specific shows.
Yeah, like she used to be, like her main thing used to be Around the Horn, but like now she's on a bunch of stuff. She'll pop in and everywhere. Because she's become a really big face of ESPN NFL.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a lot of people that like her. Like Dan Orlovsky is definitely defended her quite a bit. If you didn't know much about that situation, she just reiterated a meme that was circulating online quite a bit that said Jimmy G is like the guy in the group project that doesn't do anything but gets an A. I thought like maybe it was a funny, cheeky comment. But in general, for me, I was like, I don't think Jimmy G got enough credit. And I think there was people like Deebo Samuel that had his back. George Kittle's had his back. The guy wins football games. You got to remember that. He doesn't do it in a super flashy way. He's not going to be one of those guys that is going to be like an Aaron Rodgers that's going to win you an MVP or throw the ball a lot and put the team on his shoulders. But when it comes down to it, a lot of the time he's stepped up.
That's
he's done
true.
well.
They win games when he is the starter, and it's like a lot of people. And to Mina Kimes' credit, look, the reason why she says stuff like that is because that's like part of her like when it comes to NFL, her like thing, and it's been her thing for a while, is she says wins aren't a quarterback stat. We love to talk about that. Tom Brady, has more wins than any other quarterback. To her, it's just wins are not a quarterback stat. She says there are 22 starters, 25 if you include special teams.
You got to include special teams.
Got to include. And she just that's her thing. And also got to shout out While I disagree with Mina Kimes on plenty of topics, especially off the field, she did graduate from Mesquite High School, which is from Gilbert Public Schools, the same district I graduated from. So you gotta have your people's backs, respect. But
I think the main thing too is like Jeff Garcia. He played for the Niners for a good while. I remember I grew up watching him, and I know producer Dominic back there. He does a great job with us. I know he watched Jeff Garcia when he was younger. Sorry again for the loss, and I know that's a lot to deal with back there, Dom. But Jeff Garcia just basically came out and said like, "Who the heck is this?
Yeah.
Like who do you think you are talking about players like this?" And I think it was not. It turned into this whole like, this guy's
blown out of proportion.
It's just this guy's sexist and blah blah blah. No, this kind of stuff has happened so often that she's the one person that has not played in the NFL on that broadcast. I think there's three other guys that's on that main NFL on ESPN broadcast that they're normally on that have played football.
Yeah.
And then Dan Orlovsky is one of those guys too. He was a quarterback in the NFL, and he was attacking that. It's like, hey, you have not played football.
Yeah.
And so don't talk about this like this. I'm sick of the slander, and I know Jeff Garcia doubled down on
you got to double down
on 95-7 the game as well. I think I'll try to find that, but the whole thing just really got blown completely out of proportion, and that's why I was tweeting out yesterday. I was like, man, can we get a live cam on Jeff Garcia and Mina Kimes right now? Because the Niners were looking good. The Niners look like they could have the Rams number once again, and Jimmy G would be leading the team to the Super Bowl because all that guy does is win. But that stuff is just so unbelievably it's ridiculous to me. It was not sexist. I think he was just calling out one person on the broadcast, did not play NFL football, and was just reiterating a meme, and it turned into this whole thing where it's like, protect Mina. And it's just like, okay, settle down.
That's why, because also, like, I go, you know what, if you need other people to come defend you, and I'm not saying Mina Kimes asked for that, I'm just saying, like, look, like, guys, people can be criticized. Especially on Twitter, of all places. People don't need to come to Mina Kimes' defense. She can do that on her own. But like also, this is why like I completely agree with everything you're saying, John. Like it wasn't sexist. It was actually eerily similar to, remember when Kevin Durant came out against what he called the blog boys? It's the same thing. It's the same argument. And people didn't go, jump down Kevin Durant's throat because everyone kind of like agrees. So it's like, yeah, like people like me, for example, yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Jeff Garcia could have said the exact same thing to me. You at least played college football.
Yeah.
I didn't. Like I am one of those blog boys. So everything that Jeff Garcia said to me, he would have said the exact same thing to me. And that's why it's not sexist. He's just saying you haven't played the game. And so so like I that's why I totally get everything Jeff Garcia was saying. I think he was correct. But like you said, got blown out of proportion.
Yeah. And, basically like Jeff Garcia, too, which I think was a great call. He's like, I'm not going to apologize.
No, of course not.
Don't apologize for this kind of stuff. It's just look at how ESPN is constantly going to be covering this stuff where they're going to double down, which is like, don't criticize Mina Kimes. Don't criticize any female on a broadcast. Hey, if you're in front of a camera and you are talking about sports, I'm going to get crapped on all the time. If you work at ESPN, you're going to get criticism. You work at Fox Sports, doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna get criticism. That's the way it works, and that's what you sign up for. And this is not I know there also is plenty of people out there that are like really old school. I don't feel like any woman should be talking about football. No, there's some great football minds, and Minna Kimes is a great football mind. She really is, but it does not mean that you're gonna get shielded from criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to avoid criticism. Let's talk about the game here. But the Rams, Matt Stafford. Do you remember? I think it was around week 6. I was saying, hey, Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, I'm like, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. No, I won't take
Didn't he throw the most interceptions this year? I want to say he did.
Yeah, he had a stretch where it did not look good. But there is Maddie
Kelly
Stafford.
looks like she was having a good time.
I love that relationship too. I know this kind of sounds like politics right now, but it's a celebrity relationship.
Kelly
But
Stafford's great.
Would
you remember when she called out I think it was the governor of Michigan for being a dictator early in the COVID stuff?
Dude, that chick's the worst.
Oh yeah. All about big Kelly Stafford fan.
Oh yeah. And he spent 12 seasons in Detroit. Yep. And I know that's something we've talked about, and I know I've harped on a ton, is, man, thank you. When the Rams picked him up, I said, you're finally going to get to see how good Matthew Stafford is. He's always been one of the best and easily the toughest quarterback in the National Football League.
One of the most likable guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, honestly, go to YouTube and just look up stats or just look up old highlights of Matt Stafford.
Specifically, the one where he comes back into the game after hurting his shoulder.
Yeah.
Pops his non-throwing shoulder out. And he comes out, and for the very last play, they had to send in their backup, but they called a timeout, and so he was like, he's on the ground, and he hears them call a timeout, and he's like, wait, you called timeout, so I can go back in, right? And they're like, no, stay down, Matt, and he's like, no, I'm going back in. If you need me to throw, I can throw. Goes in, throws game-winning touchdown.
Dude,
so much heart.
Beast. Heck of a performance yesterday, 31 for 45, 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But that might have been overshadowed by the man, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, when's the last time we saw a wide receiver like this that just absolutely dominated? Because we've had people that have put on some spectacular performances, like Megatron was always really exciting. Randy Moss was always a lot of fun. You got people like Marvin Harrison that I don't feel like really like blew people away with like athleticism, but he always his connection with Peyton Manning was incredible.
I think Marvin Harrison might be the most apt comparison because the Randy Moss, Megatron, Larry Fitzgerald in his prime, they are built so different from Cooper Kupp, where they're just these massive, built in a laboratory wide receiver. Whereas Cooper Kupp, he was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school. Went to Eastern Washington. Yep.
It was also, sorry to get you off. It was a great story about, he was saying how his, I think now wife, but girlfriend at the time, convinced him to keep playing football. Like, I was always encouraging him to play football. And if it hadn't have been for her, we wouldn't be able to see these historic performances that he's putting on week after week.
Incredible stuff. No, so it's just so I actually think a Marvin Harrison, where he's not the most physically gifted person, total athlete, don't get me wrong, but it's all about connection and timing and route running and chemistry with your quarterback. I actually really like the Marvin Harrison comparison.
Just when you watch the Super Bowl, just hone in. I wish there was just like in the World Series, how you can get into the MLB app and you can see different angles and you can focus on stuff. There should be a Cooper Kupp just video feed. That's it. Just watch him run routes. It's phenomenal. No one does it better in the NFL. And that's why there's a lot of people that are going to wow you with their speed, like the Tyreek Hills and their athleticism. And it's unbelievable. Like, even people like OBJ. Yeah. Too, that's another incredibly athletic guy. But you watch Cooper Kupp, who is still, don't forget, unbelievably athletic himself. We're not hating on that as well, but he runs routes like nobody else in the NFL. He's always able to find those seams. He's the 7th player with 20-plus TDs in a season. 1,300-yard game this season. That is the most in NFL history, including playoffs.
That's crazy.
13th. There's 18 weeks in the NFL, and then they've just played 2 weeks here now? No, 3.
3, yeah, because they didn't have a 1 seed.
And he was number 1 in receptions, and he's the first leader in receptions to make it to the Super Bowl since
Randy Moss.
The GOAT, Jerry Rice.
Really? Okay, so even that dominant Randy Moss, what was that, 07, the 16-0 season. Okay, I would have guessed, sheer, making predictions. I would have guessed he would have been number 1 in receptions. Mm-hmm. But actually thinking back to that year, there were a lot of deep balls.
Yeah. See, one thing we got to touch on too. I can't wait any longer. I know you mentioned it earlier. Kyle Shanahan blows it again. Kyle Shanahan, the guy that tried to tell everybody on the Niners. I had some info from people at the Niners trying to say how he put together this whole film session when he joined the team saying, this is why you can't blame me for Super Bowl 50. Or not Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl 51.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. He blew that Super Bowl when the Falcons were up 28-3. He blew it yesterday when the team was up by 10 late. He blew it in last year's Super Bowl when they were up late as well.
Last year's Super Bowl? They weren't.
Not last year. I mean, 2 years ago. Okay. The guy needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Why is no one asking him this? Especially in, I know you don't want to pile on somebody, but after the game, there's got to be someone in that press conference. That's a great tweet. Got the classic Reggie Miller choke. How does no one ask him that in the postgame presser? Those are 3 huge games, 2 Super Bowls and an NFC Championship game, and you go conservative again. I know there is an aspect of, Jaquaski Tart did not get that interception, dropped that, but also Jalen Ramsey dropped an interception late, and there's always a lot of what ifs. But the play calling and then the time management has been trash.
Absolutely should have called a timeout before the 2-minute warning. Should have given your guys more time because you knew they were going to be throwing coming out of the 2-minute warning. Exactly. So of course, and you knew they were going to be throwing the ball going into the 2-minute warning. So no, that was he let 37 seconds come off the clock there. I want to say when the previous not 37, I think it was 34, whatever it was 30 plus seconds come off the clock. Let the Rams run it down to the 2-minute warning, and I was sitting there going like, what are you doing? You know they're going to throw. They're not going to run the ball because they need a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. And I just don't know. This guy needs to be held accountable. Someone needs to ask him.
And it's crazy because he is a great coach. Look what he's done with this team.
No doubt.
And so it's not like one of those things where it's like, he's the reason they're a bad team. No, they're a great team. But he probably is the reason why they're losing. But I want to ask you this. Obviously they trade all those picks for Trey Lance to move up, number 3 pick a quarterback, but then ride Jimmy G this whole year. Was this Jimmy G's last game as a 49er?
I think Jimmy G's done.
Yeah.
There was a nice little embrace with John Lynch in the tunnel after that game.
That.
And I think they've really had his back. That's what I can have the ultimate respect for the 49ers organization is John Lynch from the top down. They have had Jimmy G's back. And the dude wins once again too. He's got it done. It's not super pretty, but ever since he's been in the league, Jimmy G wins football games. And I just don't think they're going to stick around with him because I think he's going to be a free agent this offseason. Mm-hmm. And also too, he's gotten hurt a lot. He does. So he's kind of a China doll. There is that aspect. So you don't really know what you're going to get out of him. When he's on the field, he does well. But
there's enough teams that need a starting quarterback. The quarterback carousel is going to be pretty crazy this offseason, I think. And there's not high-level talent coming out of the draft.
No.
I imagine he's probably going to be a starter next year, or at the very least brought in to compete with a quasi-starter.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be interested to see what the Niners are going to do. Because from there, I think there's Aaron Rodgers. Where's he going to go? Does he go to his hometown team? Because remember, the Niners, that's his squad.
Yeah.
And I think even though Rodgers has not been able to get it done in the playoffs, like we covered last week, you got a really good team there. You got a great defense. The Niners are always competitive, and I'd be really interested to see if they would be able to make that leap, because just like Aaron Rodgers was behind Brett Favre, you got to remember that too, that Aaron Rodgers came out of Cal, and that's a Bay Area team again, University of California, Berkeley, one of the most lib places on earth. Place is trash. There also is a lot of trash there too, just like LA. And I'm going to be interested to see what happens, because it could be pretty enticing.
Yeah,
and that could take them over the hump. And just like Aaron Rodgers was behind Brett Favre, Trey Lance behind Aaron Rodgers, that could be the best thing for him.
Man, actually, see, I think if Rodgers were to go to 49ers, I don't think he'd want all that. I think he'd kind of be like, trade this guy. I'm not saying he would. I'm just like, clearly he was pissed off about the whole Jordan Love thing. I don't think he would like a dude playing under him. Maybe he says, hey, trade, do a sign and trade sort of situation. Trey Lance for Devontae Adams, bring him over. I don't know. It's just like my gut instinct says I don't think he would like Trey Lance being on that team. Rodgers is petty.
I could imagine the Bay Area would burn to the ground if that happened, because also Niners fans are some of the softest fans in the entire league. They 100% are. They are so spoiled.
Shots fired.
They've been a great franchise. They've been unbelievable. But if something like that, I mean, rightfully so, they would be upset. But they are so soft. This whole Jimmy G situation, the guy has won you games. You guys taking you to the Super Bowl. You guys just got to the Afc Championship game and lost by 3 points. You almost made it to the Super Bowl again. You've had a lot of success. Haven't really been able to get over the hump like you've wanted to. Obviously, the Hard Bowl did not really go your way either, but there's been a lot of success. And remember, years ago, you had a ton of injuries, and then you brought in John Lynch, and everyone's like, I can't believe this guy. Obviously, the Trent Baalke situation was he was trash, and that's why you really get to see Trent Baalke in Jacksonville as well. As not well, but God, stop. You're winning games and you're finding success. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you don't just get participant ribbons. You don't want to feel like, oh, another great season. Yeah. Obviously, you don't win a Super Bowl. It's not a success to organizations. But, man, Niners fans, chill out.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of success, and stop. They are the spoiled brats of the NFL, other than producer Dom back there. Love you, Dom.
But your success stopped there. And so, you know what? Let's talk Super Bowl 56.
Super Bowl 56. Before we get into what's going to be happening between these two teams, the halftime show, man. That halftime show is going to be the sickest halftime show of all time. Obviously, these are the two teams that are playing, but when you got the halftime show between Eminem, Dr. Dre,
Snoop,
Mary J. Blige,
and Kendrick Lamar.
SoFi's about to pop off.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be legit. And also, too, I think we should do a fun little Super Bowl betting show.
Ooh.
Because there's so many prop bets in the Super Bowl. It's like, what's the Gatorade color going to be? How long is the national anthem? There's so many little things about what's going on with the Super Bowl ads as well. So I got to check, too. I feel like FanDuel's got to have some fun little prop bets.
Yeah, they probably won't drop this week. They'll probably drop next week. So, yeah, the week of Super Bowl, let's do that.
Speaking of betting, though, it looks like right now, when I checked right after those games finished, Rams were -4. I'm going to check FanDuel right now. That's usually, and we're not sponsored by FanDuel, but FanDuel, if anybody's listening, you could sponsor this show. We talk about sports betting enough. Rams were -4 headed into the Super Bowl.
And remember, Super Bowl 56 is being played at SoFi Stadium, so this is a home game. However, technically, the Bengals are the home team. So this is what's funny. The Bengals, because the home team, the home team gets to use the home team lockers. So the Bengals are going to be using the Rams locker room, their locker room. They're gonna have to go change in the away team.
And then remember, too, this is the second Super Bowl in a row where the home team is playing in their home stadium. So remember last year that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they play at Raymond James Stadium. Mm-hmm. They obviously got that dub.
First team ever to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium.
Yep. Man. You also know who should have won a Super Bowl in their home stadium?
Who dat?
Falcons.
Wait, that year was at their home stadium?
They should have. Well, I think it was the next season. Too.
I was like, wow, I can't believe having that kind of a meltdown in your.
Oh my gosh! But it's gonna be a fantastic matchup, and I know we were talking about some fun facts, keys to the game, but Stafford, another little fun fact here. So this is the 7th quarterback to start a Super Bowl in his first season with a team. In the last 40 seasons, these are some of the guys that have played in a Super Bowl.
Lay them on me.
2000, Trent Dilfer with the Ravens. 1. Jake Delhomme from the Panthers in 2003, lost. 2020, Tom Brady with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got the dub. So, also another fun fact, first Super Bowl not to feature a top 2 seed since 1990.
A lot of upsets
Both 4 seeds.
Both 4 seeds, wow.
Both 4 seeds. Got to remember that. I know you put a few of these in here, too. Zach Taylor was a QB coach for the Rams before getting hired as a head coach.
Yep. So, I mean, yeah. Is he going to understand who's going to be, the student is now the teacher or whatever, blah. Also, I mean, look, he was the quarterback's coach for them. He wasn't really, I wouldn't say he really comes from the McVay coaching tree. He was in Miami. He actually was, I think he was head coach for University of Cincinnati for like a year and had a terrible year. So they fired him.
Definitely not as good as Cincinnati did this year.
Yeah. So yeah, his second time in Cincinnati is clearly a better success. And then also, yeah, another fun fact. See, I really like this one. The last number 1 overall pick quarterback to win a Super Bowl was Eli Manning. He was drafted in 2004. So I mean, that just blows my mind because obviously the number 1 overall pick, and actually like the last number 1 overall pick, just in general, to win a Super Bowl was Eric Fisher, who did it with the Chiefs, and he barely squeaked by to get. I mean, he's off the team now. So like number 1 overall picks are supposed to be like the guy, but they go to bad teams, and a lot of times teams are bad because culture's bad. So not a lot of number 1 overall picks end up winning Super Bowls. It doesn't happen that often. But we got both Matthew Stafford in 2009 was the number 1 overall pick to the Lions, and of course Joe Burrow 2020's number 1 overall pick. So that we are going to have a number 1 overall pick is going to win the Super Bowl this year. Kind of, saying, hey, it can be done. These guys can win.
Also, isn't it fascinating to see just the absolute turnaround of Cincinnati?
Oh yeah.
Give Joe Burrow and Evan McPherson the keys of the city. What they've been able to do to turn this team around. Remember, 2 seasons ago, they won 2 games. Mm-hmm. Last season, they won 4 games. Obviously, Joe Burrow got hurt. And that was one of those things where he was going to be taking the baton probably with Patrick Mahomes. Those 2 guys, and then you got a Josh Allen, too. Can't forget him. That, probably those 3 guys, and especially Joe Burrow, that was just the new young guy. Like, we're going to look to him. What is his career going to look like? And he got hurt, and they're like, oh, please don't be done. But this comeback to take a team from 4 wins to a Super Bowl berth,
it's got to be one of the best turnarounds ever.
It's definitely one of the best turnarounds ever. I think it is the best worst to first, I think, in NFL history.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I was reading some articles about that. It's absolutely incredible what they've been able to do.
Last year's injury to Joe Burrow, it absolutely 100% blessing in disguise. Because if Joe Burrow, I mean, the guy's a winner. They would have won more games if he was healthy. If he doesn't get hurt, they never get Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't bring up too. Is Jamar Chase has been absolutely incredible. Also, ESPN had a list of rankings for the best rookies. He was number 5 on the list.
Stupid.
No, number 5.
Probably Parsons was probably number 1, which Parsons is great. Be.
Yeah,
but they were 1A, 1B,
Yeah, final rookie rankings here. This is from Jeff Legwold, Jeff probably just got canceled after this.
Probably a blog boy like me at times.
Micah Parsons, number 1. Mac Jones, number 2.
That's dumb.
Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle for the Chargers at number 3.
Good, not better.
Creed Humphrey, center for the Chiefs. Number 5, Jamar Chase with the Bengals. And then Kyle Pitts was number 6. And then Jalen Waddle was down at 8.
Yeah, that's dumb. Like Micah Parsons, no disrespect to Mac Jones or Rashawn Slater or Creed Humphrey. All 3 of them, great players. But like Jamar Chase was just leaps and bounds above all those dudes.
He should have at least been top 3. Well, let's talk to keys of the game for Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium, which is, once again, to a legit stadium.
Most expensive sports stadium ever built.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's a whole Halo board, too. I highly suggest going there, probably once this restrictions and all the BS is over. Obviously, Governor Gavin Newsom decided he was going to show up.
Maskless.
And, yeah, while there's a state of emergency in California and your kids have to mask up and you got to show your papers before you go into a restaurant or bar. But the keys to the game, let's start with the Rams. For me, the biggest key to the game, in my opinion, is Sean McVay.
Interesting. Okay, tell me why.
Look at him in this past game, this NFC Championship game. What in the heck were those challenges? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What?
Lost both of them.
They were both horrible challenges.
Cost you timeouts.
Exactly. So I think they gave up their last timeout in the second half. And then, quickly before we keep going with the keys of the game, everybody watching here, there's a photo of Governor Gavin Newsom. We'll go back to the front one, and that's Irving Magic Johnson. And you got to remember, the state of emergency in California.
Yep.
In every other indoor dining place or bar, you got to mask up. And this is him just chilling at the game. Big smile. Hope you guys are having fun. Remember, this is the same guy that went to Napa Valley and decided he's going to have a $10,000 a plate dinner at the French Laundry. Mm-hmm. And how in the world did that guy not get...
Wait. Bring that back up, guys.
How in the world did that guy not get recalled? And it wasn't just him, because I know L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti, who basically has his city looking like a third world country, was there as well. This is typical rules for thee not for me, and this should piss people off. Mm-hmm. This is,
guys, I'm curious. It says my friend Rob Lowe. I want to see if he's wearing his NFL hat. Could you scroll over in the pictures? I want to see. Does he have a picture with Rob Lowe there?
I don't know if Rob is Rob Lowe. There he is.
But he's wearing an LA. Okay, he's representing. I love when he wears his NFL hat. It's hilarious. It's absolute comedy. It's such a Rob Lowe thing to do. Mm-hmm. I love Rob Lowe.
But once again, too, there's so Sean McVay. Why I think that's the key to the game is he even admitted when they had that Super Bowl against the Patriots which was also my least favorite Super Bowl maybe I've ever watched. That was a snooze fest.
So boring.
That was one of the worst we've seen in the modern age of football.
The sideline shots of McVay were hilarious though during that Super Bowl because he looked just lost. He coached this like throughout the entire year. It was the number one offense, and then Bill Belichick just supremely outcoached him, and it was just funny to look at it and be like, and like he just always looked lost over on the sideline. Yeah. It was like, hey, wake up! You're in the Super Bowl. You're a head coach now. That was his second year as head coach, and you got this. You got to play with the big boys. And so now I think because of that loss, I think he's a much better coach.
Yep. So, yeah, that's why I think he's going to be the key to the game, and then also I really feel like the interior linemen on both sides are going to be huge. I think number one key to the game for the Rams is McVay, and then the key to the game for the Bengals is going to be the interior line. Are they going to be able to pressure Matt Stafford? Are they going to be able to protect Joe Burrow? Because the other side of the ball, when it comes to win rate for, I think, pass blocking, run stop, and I think one other stat I'm going to look up. They are pass rush, pass block, and run stop. Their win rate, the Rams are number 1.
Wow. So
their interior is great. And obviously you got the Von Millers, you got the Aaron Donald. I think those two things are going to be huge.
Yeah, like I mean that's why for me, pass rush is going to be such a defining key to this game. When you watch, especially just this championship round, Joe Burrow did not have a lot of time to throw the ball. He was getting pressured all the time. Obviously, we know about the 9-sack game against the Titans, and now he's got Aaron Donald and Von Miller on the other side, who's going to be running, trying to tackle him, trying to sack him. That's going to be uncomfortable. On the reverse side, you had, Matt Stafford with Nick Bosa trying to get after him. And credit, the 49ers did get to Matt Stafford, but there was a lot of plays where he had a lot of time back in that pocket. And so...
But he also did well under pressure too. That was the thing. He was pressured, but they didn't get him down.
Yes. And so that's where I go, is Joe Burrow and his offensive line going to be able to stand up enough to give Joe Burrow time enough in the pocket to get the ball to Chase, get the ball to Higgins and Boyd and Mixon? Unfortunately, I think Uzama, their tight end, is going to be done. That was a pretty bad ankle roll.
Yeah, that was tough.
But also, I know the Rams lost their tight end. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name?
Snowderek?
No. That's a wide receiver. Oh my gosh, Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, Higbee went down, but Blanton, I think he had a fantastic game.
He's a good blocker too.
Yes.
Very underrated.
Because that's why right when he came into the game, he had a big run block for Cam Akers. Mm-hmm. Cam Akers, who also looked like he might be out of the game for a minute too. I know he was questionable to return, then ended up finding a way back in. Higbee's been great, but when you have Blanton come in, it's next man up.
Yeah.
And he ran some good routes, great pass blocker, and he's a great run blocker. He's one of those guys, he's a big boy. And then something too off of that is, obviously, you brought up the 9-sack game. The Titans really getting to the Bengals. Cincinnati ranked 30th in pass block win rate, and Burrow had a 9% sack rate. So that was the 4th highest in the NFL. Jeez. But they're still finding a way to win. And then that's why I think someone like Burrow, he's been able to adapt and be really good under pressure.
Yeah.
And I think after you get sacked 9 times, you're just kind of like, whatever. Bring it. I'll do fine. And if that doesn't do something for your confidence, I don't know what will.
I mean, I look at both of these quarterbacks and I go, have we ever, when was the last time that you had 2 quarterbacks going up against each other in the Super Bowl that are just both extremely likable people? I don't know anybody who dislikes Joe Burrow or dislikes Matthew Stafford. These guys are great. I love both of them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people rooting for Matt Stafford too, because you got the guy that's been waiting so long in his career to finally have an opportunity. And also, shout out to Rams ownership going all in. This was the year.
Yeah.
They went all in on Matt Stafford. They picked up OBJ halfway through the season. They picked up Von Miller. Aaron Donald was obviously, he's been there for a little while. He's just been waiting for people to get around him. And they got a really good squad, and they went all in.
Yeah.
And the time is now, too, because someone like Cooper Kupp, that guy's got to make $1 billion. That guy deserves all the money in the world. He's got to be like a Scrooge McDuck in a few years, where he's just got cash flowing, and it's got to be like a Wolf of Wall Street. Like, maybe just have a full room of cash.
Yeah.
Where he can just swim in, and that's going to be happening soon. The time is now for them to win, and they've done a great job building up that team.
So I'm curious. Super Bowl MVP. Obviously, we'll have a whole nother week to talk about
Cooper Kupp.
But yeah, it's like if it's gonna be anybody, my betting odds is on Cooper Kupp. Obviously, I'm gonna go Bengals. But
come on, Bengals.
I feel like it's Cooper Kupp or Joe Burrow. Short of some other player having this miraculous game-saving performance, those are the 2 guys.
Yeah, I know. People were asking me on Breakaway's Instagram. Also, if you're not following us already, at TPUSA Breakaway, be one of the thousands that are following us now. A lot of great content there.
Becoming a real, there's a lot of conversations going on in the comments. You might want to jump in on that.
Yeah, exactly. And we appreciate that very much, too, because that's what we want to do is continue to build this out to be a place where you can chat about sports. There's obviously aspects of sports that you're going to hear from us that's not going to be covered on different shows, and especially in the social media space. Mm-hmm. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff like mainstream the NFL playoffs, but other stuff like what's going on in the Aussie Open, what's going on with the Olympics, and what's going on with the transgender movement, like that episode that we have. Once again, you definitely got to check that out. Every Sunday we have exclusive conversations. But here on Breakaways, there was a little question box I had on our story, and people were asking, who do you think's going to make it to the Super Bowl? I did say Rams Chiefs, and obviously Joey Burrow had something to say about that, and I said Cooper Kupp would win the MVP, and I got Rams winning the Super Bowl still. But it wouldn't surprise anybody if the Bengals find a way to win this. But Cooper Kupp, I can't remember the last time someone from a losing team got the MVP.
I don't think it happens.
Has it happened?
Maybe at one point, like it was not like, I don't feel like it's. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel like it's an official rule that you have to give it to the winning team. But I feel like it's one of those, at the very least, one of those unwritten rules where it goes to whoever had the best performance on the winning team. Same as like Finals MVP. Like, remember the Warriors' first win should have been LeBron, but he didn't win.
Yeah, because I remember that where he put on an incredible performance.
He was dropping like 40 points a game.
He was incredible. So, fun fact, Chuck Howley,
What year was that?
Take a guess what year that was.
1972.
1961.
Jeez.
1961. So he got traded to the Cowboys, and he became one of the best outside linebackers in Cowboys history. This is from DallasCowboys.com. And the only player to win Super Bowl MVP honors while on the losing team. So he got traded there in 1961.
Uh-huh.
I would have to see exactly what year he won that Super Bowl MVP, but yep, that's it. So I mean, we could see history too. Cooper Kupp continues to make history. So this could be another shootout, and then Cooper Kupp, but it would be hard to win that, especially if Joey B has another unbelievable performance, whatever it may be. So also, as we're wrapping up this Super Bowl preview, huge shout out to my boy, Matt Orzech. He is a long snapper for the LA Rams. He's the best long snapper I ever had. From D2 long snapper and backup tight end to Super Bowl bound. I actually just got this is amazing. So Matt actually just shot me a text, and he said, craziest sports experience I've ever been a part of. Matt Orzech, congratulations, buddy. I know I got to see him weeks ago, and it almost gets me emotional. Think about, he is one of the best dudes I've ever known. He is worked so hard to be where he's at, and he's one of those guys where nobody knew about him. Just went to Azusa Pacific University in Southern California. We don't even have a football team anymore. Azusa Pacific got rid of the team, and we got a kid from the football team that's in the Super Bowl.
Crazy.
In the hometown. There he is. There's my boy, Matt Orzech. Gosh, I am so excited for him, and that's why, for me, I'm pulling for the Rams. I would love to see them win the Super Bowl. I'd love to see this guy right here get a ring. He has bounced around a lot, but worked really hard. Also, shout out to my boy, J.J. Koski. He played for Cal Poly. He was a great wide receiver for them. He got his first NFL experience. That was maybe like 6 weeks ago or so too. I know my brother and I went to that game. It was exciting, and I'm really excited for him. I think right now JJ's on the practice squad, but I know he was rolling around in the confetti yesterday.
Practice squad players get rings too.
Amen to that. So I'm super excited for those guys. Definitely wanted to give a shout out. And I think it's absolutely incredible what they've gone through to get to where they're at. And those are some stories that people just probably don't know about. You're not going to know about the long snapper. You're not going to know about some of the practice squad guys. But congratulations, JJ and Matt. I am very, very excited for you two.
Yeah, man. But yeah, no, we're definitely going to be able to have a full Super Bowl preview show next week at the very least.
Yep.
Like I said, we want to do another maybe flash episode where we talk just prop bets and whatnot. But as we're getting closer to the closing up here, there was in the NBA a shocking moment this past week when they announced the All-Star Game starters.
Yep. So the starters for the West: Steph Curry, 8-time All-Star. The Joker, LeBron James, and 18-time All-Star. Once again, too, I know we crap on that guy a ton on the conservative side. Obviously, don't agree with his politics. We'd at least like to have some sort of sit-down discussions for some of these things. But the guy is one of the best athletes we will ever see in our entire lives.
Oh, yeah.
18 times All-Star. The guy is a freak athlete. John Morant finally getting in an All-Star game. Dude is unbelievable to watch. And then the biggest shocker, Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah. Producer Angelo says they spelled Devin Booker wrong. Obviously, as a Phoenix Suns diehard over here, born and raised Phoenix, Arizona, I don't know the last time the best team in the league didn't have at least one starter. That just doesn't make any sense to me. You could have put Devin Booker, you could have put Chris Paul, you could have put DeAndre Ayton. Didn't matter. Any of them, and it's because they get stuck into this antiquated where they want to put, a center, 2 forwards, and 2 guards. And it's like, no, just make the starters the 5 best players from the conference.
Yeah, if it ends up being a small ball lineup,
it's fine.
It's the All-Star game. Because I know a lot of people, they brought up like, oh, dude, next time you post, think about front court and back court. It's just like, okay, no. You're totally missing.
I was thinking about that.
You're missing the point that we're making here. Andrew Wiggins has done a great job for the Warriors. Should he be over Devin Booker? No way. Should he be over Luka Doncic? No way either. But
absolutely not.
But it's interesting to see the way the NBA runs their All-Star game. Because I think 50% of the vote is a fan vote.
Yep.
Correct? So, a lot of it's turned into a popularity contest. And that's where I feel like Major League Baseball's got to figure their ish out, too. Because they allow one player from each team to be represented in the All-Star game. I don't think the NBA does the same thing. It's just like whoever the best player is, just be there. And that's how I think it should be. There's too much of a participation trophy situation in Major League Baseball. But this is how the draft's going to work. I'm going to try to break some of this down because I feel like ever since 2017, they've kind of changed things around in the NBA.
And for the better, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun. So I know there's an aspect, the 75th anniversary of the NBA. They're changing things around. So the leading vote getter in the All-Star balloting process is awarded the first pick in the All-Star draft. So you got LeBron, that's going to be a captain. That's going to be able to pick people. And then
Kevin Durant?
And then Kevin Durant for the East. So for the All-Star game, LeBron James is going to pick first.
And he'll pick AD.
Yeah. So, of course, that's what he's going to do. So they take turns drafting from a pool of 22 players voted into the All-Star field. First, they select from the 8 All-Star starters and then the 14 All-Star reserves. And then conference affiliation doesn't matter during the draft process at all.
Actually, yeah, because obviously AD won't be a starter, so that will be his first pick when it comes to the reserves.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be his first pick? Probably won't be Giannis because they play the same position. I imagine he's going to go Steph.
For some reason, I know they're saying that back there in the control room because that's what I'm thinking too is Jon Morant.
Yeah.
I think for LeBron James loves controversy.
Yeah, but he also loves his boys, like his old guard. He's a banana boat guy,
He is a banana boat guy, but also there is an aspect of
rivalry.
I think that's why he's going to go with Ja.
And letting maybe KD will have a before the draft conversation, say, hey, I want my guy Steph on my team.
Also, too, what that makes me think of is Draymond Green has done an incredible job content-wise.
Oh, yeah.
His podcast is done really well, and I know he just signed a deal, I think, with Turner.
Yep. So Turner, that's, Bleacher Report. That's who they own. Turner is CNN.
And the reason I bring that up is I think it was on JJ Redick's podcast. JJ Redick, another guy that I can't believe that I've grown to like him because I'm a UNC basketball guy.
Yeah. And
anybody from Duke, I just cannot cannot stand. There's been a few players that I've been okay with. JJ Redick, I have just grown to love. But when Draymond and JJ Redick were talking about KD signing with the Warriors, Draymond Green had a very interesting perspective on that whole situation. So definitely check that out, because I think there's a lot of rumors about how that went down, and how he was signing originally, and then when he left. I think there's still a lot of love there. So I could see KD and Steph teaming up.
Also I could see Embiid being the first pick, because Embiid, if the season ended today, I would give the MVP to Joel Embiid. The guy,
Really?
Oh, dude, have you seen his numbers over the past 2 months? It is insane what he's doing.
He's been great. But you think over Ja and Joker?
Yes, I know. Basketball Reference, I think it is. They continue to do an updated ladder, and I think they have Jokic as their number one. And Jokic is great, but the truth is, as good as he is doing, it's not exactly translating to the team being dominant. And I feel like you have to be able to elevate your team to wins. Whereas Joel Embiid, remember, he's doing this without, who is arguably their second best player, Ben Simmons. I know that's controversial to say, but and Joel Embiid is just putting the team on his back night in and night out, going out and dropping just absolute bonkers stat lines.
Well, you think Ben?
Yeah, producer Angelo just said in my ear, 35, 11, and 10 over the last. Wait, 35, 11, and what? And 4 over the last 10 games. That is crazy. And it's not just last 10 games. It's really been the last 2 months. For me right now, obviously, a lot of season left. Right now, Joel Embiid's my MVP.
Because right now, too, I know 3 days ago, NBA.com, they talked about their Kia MVP ladder. They have Joel Embiid at number 2.
Okay.
They got Joker at number 1. So Joker right now, he is averaging 26.1 points per game, just about 14 rebounds a game, and almost 8 assists.
That's crazy
per game.
Center.
That's another guy, too, where a lot of times on the show, I'm telling people, go back and watch some of these condensed games or something, and then just hyper-focus on the Joker.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic. And that guy's court vision is incredible. He looks like an ogre out there, no doubt. The guy looks odd, but
Built
he
like
is
an
incredible. He's got some wonky-looking fundamentals, but that guy's court vision, it's almost like a Karl Malone situation too, or a Tim Duncan, where you have some big men that really know how to see the floor. And actually, for me, that's how I loved playing basketball myself. Is I got way more pleasure out of making a sweet pass as a big man, and then I did hitting a big shot or trying to take somebody off the dribble, which normally didn't happen that much, especially when you're white, 6'5", can't jump that high, and you're not that quick. But these guys do an incredible job with that. And I know we're going to tell you exactly when those picks are going to happen.
Yeah, you put it in here somewhere. January 27th, All-Star starters were announced. February 3rd, All-Star reserves will be announced. And then it looks like February 10th, the All-Star draft will happen.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the best way to start wrapping this up here is, I know this is a longer podcast, but we told you we'd talk about the GOAT.
Yeah. What do you think's happening?
So there was the report from Adam Schefter. It came out and said Tom Brady, after 22 NFL seasons, 7 rings, is retiring from football. We've heard some of those rumors, and I didn't believe it. When those rumors were initially coming out. Mm-hmm. And then when Adam Schefter reported it, because Adam Schefter, you got to remember, he's like the Woj of the NFL. So, and there's some of those stats there: 7-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Super Bowl MVP of the regular season 3 times, blah 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 blah, 15 times Pro Bowl.
GOAT stuff.
GOAT. He is undoubtedly the GOAT. And then we found out that, because usually Tom Brady, he's the content guy. He's posting stuff all the time. I know he just released the Brady brand. I might have to check out some of those clothes, but he didn't post anything on Twitter, anything on Facebook, anything on Instagram. There was nothing from Tom Brady. And for me, I was shocked, because Adam Schefter tweeting it, which is basically it's going to happen. and then heard that Tom Brady talked to ownership and said he's not even close to making a decision. Tom Brady Sr., his dad was saying, yeah, he's not making a decision yet. You had Tom Brady's agent that came out and said, yeah, if you hear about any retirement stuff with complete accuracy, it's going to come from Tom Brady. And that was what was funny.
Interesting source.
This could be the biggest blown lead in the NFL since 28-3. There was a great post about that. It said Tom Brady 3, Adam Schefter 28. So this is what his agent ended up saying. I understand the advanced speculation about Tom's future without getting into the accuracy or inaccuracy of what's being reported, a.k.a. he's saying that Adam Schefter is full of crap. Tom will be the only person to express his plans with complete accuracy. He knows the realities of the football business and planning calendar as well as anybody, so that should be soon.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter, what are you doing, man? Because for me, I think he's just looking for clout. There's no way you report something like that and then have Tom Brady's agent, his dad, and everybody in the Brady circle saying, yeah, no, that's not for sure. And that might not even be happening too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, and I have no love lost on Adam Schefter looking like an absolute clown because remember, this is a guy who, just like Woj, dude, he takes some super woke positions on stuff. I respect the man for his job and how he, is the guy who like breaks news. And the reason why everybody believed it is because normally Adam Schefter, his sources are legit. And when he breaks something, that's because it's happening. It's real. But yeah, no, take some super woke positions on stuff, which I just don't like. And then also, remember how he had that absolute clown service in the whole Washington football team scandal stuff, where he basically absolute just sold out his journalistic ethics and would send. He got caught in the emails sending advance copies of his articles that he was going to publish and saying, hey, do you want me to change anything? This is what it looks like right now. Like, is this okay? Basically what it said to me is, oh, this is how the dude has so many good sources because he freaking brown noses and freaking kisses ass so much.
Exactly. And I think as we wrap up kind of like the GOAT talk here, I think Tom Brady, he said he wants to almost play into his 50s.
Yeah.
And I know we were thinking a lot about, Mount Rushmore. What are we going to do? Who are we going to put up there? And I think Brady would be up there for me because we got 4 people up there, right?
Mm-hmm, 4.
Brady, Michael Jordan.
It's tough.
I know, it's really tough. I think Muhammad Ali would be up there.
Okay.
And then the 4th, I feel like that's to be determined. I don't know who as of right now, you'd have to see what's going to happen with, Rafael Nadal's career. Obviously, he just won. That was an incredible performance at the Aussie Open. Obviously, I didn't really watch any of the Aussie Open other than kind of this final, kept up a little bit. But he came down from 2 sets down to Medvedev, Medvedev was a favorite, and came back and won 3 sets. He's now got 21 Grand Slams. Mm-hmm. He's got the most victories out of anybody in tennis history. He's close there, but maybe Michael Phelps would be the 4th one.
Yeah, so I'll give you my Mount Rushmore, a little controversial. So I would have Jordan, of course, Brady,
Yep.
Of course. I would put Michael Phelps there, most decorated Olympian of all time. And last one, as I was doing some research into it, I saw somebody else say this, and it really won me over the argument. Hot take, I'm putting Secretary at number 4.
Good
Secretary at the horse. Still, the American Triple Crown winner, and he holds the fastest time record for all 3 Triple Crown races. Greatest athlete of all time. These are GOATs. This is Mount Rushmore. The Secretariat deserves a spot. Fastest time in all 3 races. GOAT. GOAT racer. Better than Usain Bolt.
You got a 5'0" person on that animal. And you're going to call them that? What are you?
I'm not saying the jockey is.
No, what
Secretariat is.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting looking mountain when you got a little jockey that's carved out of stone on top.
Jockey
of the
has no place on that horse.
Wow, so the jockey
just Secretariat.
So it's not up to the jockey at all. It's just the horse. So basically, any short person can just sit on that animal and and win?
Pretty much. The horse is the goat.
Wow. I don't know how many horse racing fans we have out there, but they are triggered. Hearing that jockeys.
No, they would be pumped that I put Secretariat on Rushmore.
No, I think they're triggered because you're like, jockeys don't matter.
Nah,
jockeys' lives matter. I'm telling you that right now. And
yeah, we'll do a Rushmore special at some point.
But short people matter. But obviously not to Peter Dinklage because he doesn't want them in the new Snow White live action. Well, and there's Secretariat. Good Lord. And look at that. They're cutting off the head of the jockey. Just getting no love at all. All right, we're wrapping up here. Olympics are coming up in less than a week, too. China's trying to say that the U.S. is going to try to sabotage the games. There's anonymous sources saying that they're going to incite athletes from various countries to express their discontent towards China, play passively in competition, and even refuse to take part. China, no. The CCP, no. I don't think anybody is going to try to take a stance like that because it might be a Peng Shuai situation again where we just don't know where they are. I'm terrified for our athletes.
Really praying for them. I really am.
Boycott the games. Don't watch the games. We're going to watch a little bit. We'll keep you updated because
I really don't think I'm going to watch any.
I'm going to to try to keep up just so you know what's going on.
You'll watch so nobody else has to.
Yeah, that exactly. I will take the hit for you guys. I'm not going to sabotage the games. But I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch the games. All right, wrapping up here. We have a Sunday sit-down with incredible pro swimmers that have been very vocal about the Leah Thomas situation and why we shouldn't have biological men in women's sports. It's ruining it. They call out the feminists because they're nowhere to be found. They call it the NCAA. They call out woke sports media, and they talk to us about what we can do about Title IX and how this will affect women's sports. Make sure you check that out. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, also on YouTube. Final thing, it is wedding week for producer Angelo back there. Congratulations, producer Angelo. He does an incredible job. One of the nicest guys here in this office. He's always upbeat because I know we jump in here early on Monday mornings.
Oh, yeah.
And he keeps the vibe up. We're so excited that he's taking that next step with his honey bunches. So congratulations, producer Angelo. And thank you all the guys in the back. Thank you everybody that watches this show. Once again, subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at TPUSA Breakaway. Good luck, Joey B. Good luck, Matt Stafford. Have a great day. We'll be back with a Super Bowl special and some more great content this week. Bye-bye.